Welcome to Taking Over the Photo Pit, a music photography podcast. My name is Boston, and I created this podcast to feature and highlight badass women concert photographers. Now, today we are talking to Dalila of rockstarpix.rocks, and I'm pretty sure that my path has crossed with hers over both of our careers. But she is from Queens, New York, and she has been touring with Anvil and doing all of these great imagery. Just so much cool stuff for all of these rockers that I love listening to and I admire, and her work is just incredible. So I'm really excited for today's episode, and she gives such great advice. She's been in the music industry for a while and really knows the ins and outs of the industry, working, touring with these badass musicians, and I'm just so excited to talk to her. So we're gonna jump right into it. Hey, Dalila, I'm so excited to have you with me and chat. And I know that you're in New York, a few hours ahead of me. And I love doing these interviews with people in different locations and hearing about the music industry in your area. But before I just ramble on, let's have you do a quick intro of who you are, how you got started in photography, how you got started in the music industry. Tell me all the good details about how you got started, and yeah, let's go from there.
All right. Born and raised in New York, Queens, New York. Born in 1975. And born into a very artistic family, but they're all painters. When we were kids, my parents, we used to go upstate, and every now and again, just new things would be introduced. I remember I was probably 5 or 6, maybe 7, and my grandfather gave me and my brother one camera. And it was the ones with those pop flashes, And I remember taking it, and it was the coolest little noise, So I got wow, that's cool. Let's do more. And they're like, no, that costs money. We can't keep doing this, right? So it was kind of, to me, I loved it. And I just kept wanting to do it everywhere I went. I wanted to have a camera with me. So I guess it started then. If you fast forward to now, I found out that my other grandfather on my father's side, that was his first love, was photography. But he was also a painter. So, but finding out that, that he wanted to do photography was, it made me feel at home, because I was like, wow, I'm the only one in my family that's also in the arts, but completely different field of arts. So that got me into it. And also growing up as a kid, my uncle happened to live next door to Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, and I met him when I was 14 or right around turning 15 years old, and just seeing all the musical people around him, and I just always wanted to be around that scene. So I was just okay, that's what I'm going to do. I didn't really know I wanted to do photography in the music business. I just wanted to be in the music business. But then I just started sneaking my camera into shows. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I just started sneaking my camera into shows, and then, my friends would look at the photos wow, you should keep doing that. I'd shove my way up front somehow, get as close as possible. So then it just became I should be doing this. This is something that I should really do. I never was classically trained. I never went to school for photography. If you look at my camera and ask me to explain something on it, I'd be okay, I don't know. I just play with it until, okay, that's a good shot. I'm keeping it on this setting. So that's really what it is. I've always wanted to be in the industry, but I found myself doing photography in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when did you first pick up a camera for concerts? You were just going into the shows and you're I'm just gonna bring it with me?
Yeah, and those were the days where they would frisk you, and as a woman they can't touch you in certain areas, so my camera went down my pants, and all the film rolls would be under my bra. So there's certain areas they can't touch you. They could go down the side, so they would do that. The second I'd go in, I'd run to the bathroom, I'd pull my camera out,
So
I'd take
funny.
the film out, because at that point it was still film, right? There was no digital at that time, and that's why it would cost so much money. But that's how I would just try to make my way up front, which wasn't easy, but a bunch of us friends, we were kind of, I don't want to say rowdy, but it was okay, let's start pushing our way through. as
Mm-hmm.
long as the lights go down, right? So that's what we did. And in New York City, there's a lot of like the standing room general admission. So we were able to kind of like move along, as opposed to like Madison Square Garden. If I sat in the nosebleeds, my pictures were this tiny. There was nothing I could do. So yeah, that's costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get like 2 rolls of film. I had to go with like 9. It was pretty. It was, my dad would be like, very expensive addiction. You better turn this into something. So I did, just to show
Nice.
people. I did. Yeah.
Do you still shoot film now, or are you completely switched over? You're like,
Yeah.
nope,
Not
still
anymore.
too expensive.
Yeah, it's still too expensive. And not only that, it's just waiting. I don't have a dark room, so waiting for the development, and it's just, I resisted when the digital cameras came out. I resisted it. I was still doing film. I loved film. And it took me about a year and a half to get to a point where when I was going to concerts, I was like, oh, do I buy a t-shirt or do I buy 3 more rolls of film? So it started like, do I eat when I go or do I not eat and buy another roll of film? So it was starting to get to a point with me, is like, I got to take the more economic way out. So I
Yeah.
switched over, and it wasn't an easy transition. I wasn't crazy about the cameras. I didn't know much about them, and it was trial and error. And that was the scary part, saying, okay, you could go shoot the show, and I had a brand new camera in my hand, like, oh, what do I do? So there's a lot of anticipation, a lot of nervousness, but you got to learn. And how do you learn? You have to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm one of those people that I learn by doing, and like just the practice of it. Someone can teach me or explain to me all day long how to do
right,
something, and it just like doesn't stick unless I do it. Sounds
right,
like you're kind of similar, like where you're like, yeah, I have to go and practice this. And I
yeah,
can imagine that switching from film over to digital, a huge change, because
yeah.
I have a few like film cameras. I have no idea how to use them.
It's
I
yeah,
love
yeah,
trying it, but I
yeah,
have no idea personally how to use them.
yeah. I still have film rolls sitting around, and every now and again I open it like, oh, I remember. And I close it back up and put it out. Like, I wonder what I can take with this. But it's. I don't want to say it's a lost art, because there are obviously a lot of people still out there doing it. But it's just, I don't know. I guess digital, and with digital too, you could take literally thousands of photos during the course of a whole day, as
Yeah.
opposed to 32, 16. Oh, I screwed that up. Oh, geez. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And the hardest thing, like for me, I love looking at well, I'm so used to it, obviously, because I learned on digital, like looking at the picture and
yeah,
making the edits off of that and being like, oh, I want it to be like this and changing it. You can't do that on film. You're
right.
just
Nope.
trusting
Yeah,
yourself.
you can't do it. And yeah, same thing when you're through digital, you could just adjust everything so quickly, and then you get the result within a second after you shoot it. You're like, oh, okay, all right, it's too dark. Let me go. Let me bump up the ISO. Let me, open up the shutter a little bit. So, yeah, digital's definitely. I don't want to say the solution, but a better solution for quicker photography.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. When it comes to your images, one of the things that really want or like struck me that was like, I definitely want to talk to Dalila, is that your images are very consistent. Like if I look at like what you're posting
Right.
and your, social media and everything, your images are very sharp, they're very vibrant, and they're like consistently really solid photos.
Thank you.
And it's really impressive to see someone having like consistently similar shots, regardless of who you're shooting, where you're shooting, and all of that.
Right.
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about like your style and how you've built up that like consistency and that style to be where you're at, because I think just remaining consistent is a huge difficult I difficulty for really everyone in the industry. So I wanted to hear about like how you kind of came up to your style, how you shoot, and like what your tips are for that.
I don't really think that it's like a conscious decision that I make throughout doing it and saying, oh, I need to, maintain this. For me, it's more of trying to maintain something that, like you said, when you look at it, it's consistent and it's almost like my style, it's my signature.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it just took years and years of doing it. I've noticed that I like taking more vertical shots and I do horizontal too. So, when people ask me, I just recently completed an interview, they're like, oh, we want horizontal shots. And I'm like, well, why? Why can't I submit vertical ones? Because those, like, it kind of it captures something in a different way. What I really try to strive for is to capture soul, and the essence of the
Mm-hmm.
artist. There are times where I will go out of town. Let's say if, and that's another thing that's great about living in New York City. I have Philly next door, I have Connecticut, New Jersey. I have all these next door. So if I get, let's say, hired for a shoot or asked to shoot something for a publication or anything, and if that band is around town and it's close enough, I'll go to the gig before and just watch and say, okay, this is when the light changes. Okay. And, kind of, make mental notes. I know I'm in there for 3 songs. So those are the 3 songs I'm concentrating on. So
Mm-hmm.
trying to capture a mental image of what I want to capture, even if I don't know the band, or watch them on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
and see if there's anything unique about the artist, what they like doing, if they played at a cameras, if they played at a photographers as well. And I just try to capture something I haven't seen yet. That's the only thing I try to remain consistent with my photography. That's the only conscious effort that I make is I research the band, I see what other people put out there, and then when I watch them, like, I've never seen that. Let me try to shoot that. So that's the
Yeah.
only thing I try to do. As far as, sharpness, I get lucky. I could say I get lucky because I could show you my whole roll of, whatever band you want to pick, and there'll be a bunch of really, like, you'll be like, no, 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 don't ever show these photos. They'll be in there, but that's the beauty of digital. You could shoot, you could have a happy trigger finger and still be able to capture what you're striving for. So I mean, I don't think I answered your question because I don't really have a.
No, I love it. I just like love hearing other people talk about like their style and how they shoot and everything. So
Right.
that's
And
really
I just, and I have fun too. And that's another, like, that's a problem I have. Like, shooting my favorite bands, I've noticed I get in the pit and they get on stage and my camera sometimes comes down to my hip and I'm doing this. And I'm like, no, get it back up, shoot, and then get out and headbang. So it's also part of the fun, wanting to capture it for whoever can't be at the show.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
for
take
sure.
someone through the journey. Like, wow, and that's another thing I hear. It's like I felt like I was at that show, and I'm like, I did my job. There it is. You felt like you were there. I did my job. Thank you. You
I
know.
love that.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. That's my favorite. It's like, wow, I felt like I was there. I'm like, yeah, that's because there was like 400 photos from the show. So of course you're gonna feel it's like a flip book. You see every emotion. So
Very cool. Speaking of bands that you love and shooting and photographing bands that you're like fans of, you have photographed a lot of the bands that, or worked with a lot of the bands that I'm a fan of. For example, Anvil is one, the Dead Daisies is another.
yeah.
I am like 99% sure that our paths crossed like 6 years ago because
Really?
I photographed an Anvil show.
Okay.
And
Where?
it was in New York City. It
Okay.
was,
6 years ago. Let's see. 20.
I bet you I have the pass somewhere.
Yeah. Most
I got
likely
a
because
laminated pass for it.
Yeah, most likely because I was tour managing them, and I've been doing merch for Anvil since 2011. That's what I do. I tour with them. I don't want to say tour manage. I just help them out in that department because I'm by no means a tour manager, but it's like, hey, can you do this? Sure, I'll do it. So
Yeah.
that's the name it falls under, tour managing, but
Yeah.
I do merch and, make sure they get fed, it's like, okay, well, here's what hotel we're going to, guys. Okay, and the next, So yeah, most likely hope I was nice to you.
That's the thing is, like, I don't know if we actually spoke or not. Like,
Yeah,
I don't really remember it because it was one of like my first shows or first like handful of shows. And I
right.
was so like in my own head, just like nervous about being there. I don't think that the venue had a pit, so I was like super worried about that. But I remember meeting the band and they were super nice and everyone was just like, yeah, do whatever you want. I was like,
Yeah.
is this how this always goes?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe because I know people come up to me, because they know that I work for them and, hey man, can I shoot? Can I shoot tonight? Do whatever you want. Go ahead. I can shoot the whole show. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
really? Yeah. Yeah, just don't film the whole show because, it takes away the mystique, if people
Oh,
put
for
it
sure.
all up on, people put it all up on YouTube. It's like, come on, film a song, film, half a song, take photos, have fun. So
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
if you ever want to go to an Anvil show, just reach out. There's no problem. We'll,
Nice.
we'll hook you up, no problem.
I'll put that on my list.
Yeah, serious, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to hear a little bit about like how you got started, like working with and for these bands, and like how you've kind of built those connections over the years. Because one thing that we talk about a lot on this podcast is like how important these connections are and networking with people. And I just kind of want to hear from like your point of view, like how you got to like where you are and like working with these bands and building those connections.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of long-winded. I went to college for music business. I went to
Oh,
Five Towns
okay.
College. Yeah, I went to Five Towns College, which is in Long Island, in Dix Hills, Long Island. And after taking 3 years of music business, the teacher that we had there ended up leaving, and in came Mark Puma. And Mark Puma was one of the biggest, heaviest hitters in the industry. He worked for Delsner Slater Enterprises. He managed Twisted Sister. He promoted them and all that. And he came in, and I remember the first thing he said to us, he's like, these past 3 years of this music business, whatever you've learned, out the window. He goes, you learned from a textbook. He goes, let me teach you the ropes from the streets, from the venues, from experience, right?
Mm.
So he also brought in Dee Snider one day from Twisted Sister as a speaker, which was great. And one day he says, hey, any of my students want to do an internship with me? I have a couple of open slots. Here's my phone number. Give me a call, and we'll do a summer internship. So I was like, well, this is amazing. It's working at a record company. I don't care what I'd be doing. So I'd call, never get through. The wife would answer, whoever would answer. Like, is Mark Puma on? No, okay. So I called. I must have called him like 15 or 20 times. Finally answered my call. He goes, come on in next Monday, whatever the day was. And I showed up, and it was sweltery hot day in Huntington, Long Island. Windows are open. There's pigeon shit and you smell it, and it was like, oh, and I walked in. He goes, do you know why you're here? I'm like, yeah, because I want to work with Mark Puma. And he's like, no, because he goes, everyone in your class wanted to intern for me. You were the only one that was persistent, and I'm going to give you a shot, right? And I
Nice.
was like, wow. And he goes, don't ever think you're a pest. He goes, that was a test. He goes, I tested you. I wanted to see how many times you would call until I finally took your call and said, come on in. Because that's what I do. I sit and wait to see. And I'm like, I felt, I felt like a pest. He goes, you're here. He goes, do you see anyone else from your class here? Nope. He goes, okay. So don't ever think you're a pest. That's rule number one. I took it with me to this day. It follows me. When I want to do a follow-up email, like, hey, I didn't hear back from you. I never sit back and say I'm being a pest. I'm like, this might open my door for me. So
Mm-hmm.
that was my introduction, Mark Puma. And I was just making phone calls and record companies and, just whatever I was doing. It was, it was even stuffing envelopes. It wasn't, or editing contracts for the Marlboro Unlimited concert series. Just reading contracts, like, wow, this is pretty cool. So there's a first connection. And then, years later, just meeting people in school, I met Danny Stanton of Collier Entertainment, who took over. He was Twisted Sister's agent, and he tour managed them and all that. And he knew about my work through another friend. And I said to him one day, oh, man, I would love to shoot Twisted Sister. He goes, okay. And he instantly, it was like, he believed in me. He wasn't like, show me your portfolio. Who are you? Why would I put you in the pit with, Mark Weiss? And none of that. There was no judgment. There was like, you want a shot? No problem. Mm-hmm. So it's because of people like that. And, and I literally cut my teeth on shooting Twisted Sister and bands like that, which was, yeah. And he let me stay in the pit the whole show. It wasn't like first three and you're gone. And it was stuff like that. And those opportunities, they just stacked. The more like bigger bands I shot, the more, I'd be like, hey, I shot this band. Can I shoot this? Sure. Then it turned into, hey, can I shoot this? So, hey, can you shoot this? Yeah. Like, wow, I'm being asked. Wow. So, and to this day, like Danny's still, like, I praise him and he's like, oh, would you give it up? You're awesome. You're cool. You're great in my book. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. If it wasn't for you, like none of this, because I gained my confidence. I was never, when you get in the pit and know, it's like, he's given someone an opportunity to shoot this huge band. And also like Ace Frehley, go ahead, shoot him. Like the original guitarist of Kiss, I'm shooting him. He's like, go ahead, you're great. I like your stuff. Go shoot him. Wow. So that's how it really started. And it was momentum too. It's all about that. And it's all about just also, just mutual respect. I think even if my photography wasn't the best, I would have opportunities because it's just mutual. I have people that I'm lucky enough that respect me, and, they give me those opportunities. Yeah. So it's luck and respect, and just, I want it. I always wanted it bad enough where I wouldn't be shy. It took me maybe an hour to write the email and editing it. Like, should I ask like this? Should I, like, how do I do it? But it was just like, the answer is going to be no if I don't ask. So let me ask, hey, would you mind if I, cover this show? Yeah, no problem. You're on the list +1. Are you bringing a guest? What? It's like, yeah, okay. So that's really how it went.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that the dedication part of what you're talking about is so important. Just like following up with people, like if, like you've said, like you really wanted it, and to like keep doing it and like have your eyes set on that goal and just like move forward, I think is so important.
It is. You can't be, when it comes to your life, you can't be shy.
You mentioned a few bands that are like absolute bucket list bands for me to shoot still.
Yeah.
And just to like highlight the fact that you've photographed some iconic bands and musicians, but I am very curious about whether or not you get like nervous before shoots or like get butterflies, get excited, like starstruck anymore, because like you've been shooting for a while and you've shot all these amazing bands. Like, does it still hit you that like you walk into the pit and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm here shooting this person?
I'll tell you what, once that stops, I'm done.
Yeah.
If that that tense feeling in my belly goes away, I'm going to put my camera away and say, this is not for me anymore, because it's obviously not bringing me the reason I'm here. Like, I'm getting chills even talking about it. Every time I step in there, holy shit, like, oh my God, Rob Halford just looked at me, like Alice Cooper just pointed at me, Dee Snider just did, it's still even the same guys that I don't care how many times I shot them. I get in that pit and I'm like, I can't even believe I'm here, and it's not to say I don't have the confidence or I don't think I deserve it or I don't think I'm good enough to be there. It's just more like, I'm the kid that grew up with posters plastered all over my wall of Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses, Jimi Hendrix, all these bands, and like, oh, I want to tour one day. And I'm in the pit shooting them. Like, I never got to shoot Motley Crue, but I'm in the pit shooting these people that I'd be like, just looking at, like, wow, this is cool, So yeah, I absolutely get the butterflies. But also part of the butterflies is equipment failure. It scares me every time because I hear horror stories. It's happened to me twice, but yeah, that's the thing that scares me to death. Like, just turning on my camera and it doesn't turn on. And I'll tell you, that Pelican case is usually packed with 7 batteries, 15 memory sticks. Like, I do not leave anything behind. I am fully prepared. But when that camera decides, no, what can I do? And that's happened. So that's another anticipation factor. I get myself like overthinking and the anxiety kicks in. Yeah. But yeah, the butterflies are absolutely there. Even my friends' bands, it's because it's like, to me, my friends are the most important. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I could shoot, the biggest rock bands, but they have everybody shooting them. They have the most famous photographers. They're in every magazine. I'm an independent, so they're not looking at me and putting all their trust in me, saying she's got to be the one who gets these shots, or we're going nowhere. That doesn't exist, thankfully. But it's my friends that I want to shoot, and they're like, wow, you captured this? Like, that's cool. To me, that's like, thank you. That's my favorite. Yeah.
There is something about like the energy of like smaller bands. Yeah. Like local bands. And like you can really see, not necessarily that like bigger bands don't have that, not saying that, but like the passion and stuff behind like friends bands and local bands, obsessed with it.
Yeah, and there's a hunger that they have that, and again, not to say the other bands, I mean, again, I've been with Anvil I met them in 2007, but I've been, touring with them for all these years, and they get up on that stage and it's like, they're 16-year-old kids. That raw power, that hunger, that desire, that you saw them lips, that smile never leaves his face. That's what I love about it, and I don't want to like put anyone down in the music scene, but like the only thing I don't like going to see bands is I want them to look the part. It's hard to go see a band where I can't recognize whether this guy just delivered my Domino's pizza, or if he's supposed to be on stage, just really putting him out. Like, so that kind of like, I'm just like, I want to shoot them, but in a way, it's like you're not making an effort. You know what I mean? So it's like, you might be hungry, but is this really what you want to be doing? It doesn't really look like you're
enjoying it or something. Yeah, there's like something about like, you can definitely tell, and I've said this, I've never photographed Alice Cooper, but I've gone to like 8 Alice Cooper shows. And there is definitely a passion behind him and his performances that it's like, okay, this dude's been doing it for like what, 40 years probably? Because they were around in the 60s?
Yeah, Cooper, he's been doing it since mid to late 60s, like 67 with the Spider.
Yeah. So like, he's been doing this for decades, but at the same time, he still comes on stage now, and you can see that passion, you can hear that passion, and I'm sure it's a hell of a show to photograph. I've just never gotten the opportunity yet, but like having bands like that, there's definitely like a distinct difference between photographing bands like that have that passion and that energy, and then bands that are just like, okay, it's another show. And it's like everyone has bad days too. Like obviously it's their job, and like if a band's like, okay, we're really tired, having personal issues, whatever it is, totally get that. But for me as a photographer, there's certain people that I'm like, dude, I see you on stage, I see that passion, I want to photograph that.
Cooper's a must, because first of all, it'll never, I mean, yeah, if you do a whole tour, it's going to be the same show, but you'll probably never see the same show twice. There's so many people on that stage, so many dynamic personalities, and he comes out with 5-6 different costumes. Then there's the deaths, and there's, he's amazing to shoot. And he does play to the camera. He'll look right into you. He acknowledges the photographers, but it's also a little tricky because there's so much going on at once. It's like I can't only concentrate on him. And you look at one guy and then you see this one flying in the middle of it. It's like, whoa, I missed that shot. So it's chaotic, but is it fun? And he's great personality too. So
I believe it.
Yeah.
I just love what you said about, like, if the nerves and all of that go away, that, like, that's it for you. Because, like, for me, like, I know some people have said that it's, like, unprofessional for me because I've been in pits before that I'm, like, off to the side and I'm kind of jamming along and dancing, like, really enjoying it. And it's like, I make sure that I'm not in anyone's way. But at the same time, like, I love being at shows and I love being in the pit. And
Absolutely.
Sometimes that comes across as, like, me dancing and headbanging and jamming out. And it's like, I don't think that it's unprofessional at all, personally. And I actually love seeing other photographers do the same, because also the bands probably like it, seeing that, like, people else in the industry enjoy their music. But also, like, it's so nice to see other people that are working but enjoying it.
Right. Absolutely. It's the same thing like with Twisted Sister. I know Mark Mendoza, the bass player of Twisted. And there are times where, like I say, I get the opportunity to shoot them all night, thanks to Danny, thanks to the band. Mm-hmm. And there are times I kind of like, I start shooting, I'll put my camera down to just do this. And Mark will come over and just, hey, do your job. So, like, oh, shit, I just got busted. Okay, I'll take the same 40 shots of you, okay? Okay, But yeah, I do find myself, I'm just like, how do you not jump up and down when they're not, they're like this, we're not going to take, and like, how do you not rock out? And again, I'd love to branch out. People are like, why don't you shoot other bands? Why don't you shoot? You know what? Get me a job shooting Justin Bieber. I'll do it in 2 seconds. I'll be there. It'll still be a job. I don't know the music, but it's a job. It would be a complete challenge for me because, not knowing moves, not knowing any of that, but it's just when you're doing it with the bands that you love and enjoy, it just, and then when you relive it, when it's post-processing and you're looking like, yeah, that was my favorite song. Yeah, I remember this. That was so cool, right? If it's a band you didn't like, it'd be like, what song was that? Like, what? Whatever. It's the processing isn't even fun anymore, right? It's like, I don't want to do it. But when you're processing your favorite band, you're like, oh, this is great. I hope to capture this the next time around. So, it's awesome. Yeah.
I'm very curious to hear, like, your biggest accomplishment when it comes to music photography. Like, do you have things that, like, stick in your mind that you're like, I'm so honored to have been able to do this, or I'm so proud of myself for doing that? Or are you just, like, happy with, like, every day when it comes to shooting? Like, what is it for you that, like, sticks in your mind?
I feel very lucky to shoot any and every show. That's number one. I don't want to I don't want to put anyone on a pedestal, so to speak. But one of my biggest accomplishments were, I was able to do 3 exhibitions, one of my own, just alone, and 2 a part of something in Toronto, Canada. It was just part of another exhibition. But doing one on my own in New York City, albeit it was in a small little bar right off St. Mark's, it was still, wow, I got to do it.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, I displayed 10 and I sold. People came in and, I had some stuff that they didn't even know who it was. They just loved the image. People are like, who is that?
That's amazing.
I don't know who that is. I'm buying it. I'm like, wait a minute, you don't even know who it is and you're buying it. I had someone come in that says, I've been a Kiss fan for 30 years. I've never seen Paul Stanley do that. I need to buy that photo. What? So that to me, like,
Oh,
blows my dial. It's like, wow, that's cool. Accomplishments, the Dead Daisies. I was asked to be, this was exclusive too, which was amazing to me. The exclusive and the only photographer in New York City when they were writing Burn It Down in 2017,
wow.
the writing session. So I'm in there every day with Doug Aldridge, with Marco Mendoza, with John Corabi, with David Lowy, and Marty Fredrickson, which was the producer, and then in came Dean Castronovo. It's just like, and they're like, be a fly in the wall. It's like, oh, oh. So to me, that was huge to be asked for that, so, as much as I've shot so many bands live, it was intimate. It was a 10-day contract job, but it was just, I'm actually getting paid to do this. Like, I'm getting paid to do this. That. And I remember one of my friends is Ace Frehley's personal manager. And I've shot Ace, thankfully, luckily, many, many times. And what used to be Shea Stadium is now MetLife Stadium, which is, I could see it out my window. I live so close to it. Winter Classics. I don't know what year this was, 2018 or 2017. New York Rangers were playing against the Buffalo Sabres, and Ace Frehley was playing there. And he was going to do New York Groove or whatever. And I remember, like, 5:30 in the morning, I get a call from the manager saying, Ace wants his own photographer, and we're calling you to come in and do this. I'm like, what? And he's like, can you get dressed? I'm like, dude, I live like 19. I'll be there. Like, it was the coldest day of the year. It was nuts. Threw everything on. We get there, and when we get there, like the place, like the Shea Stadium, their MetLife Stadium, they had all these rules that the photographers couldn't go out and shoot whatever, but I was still, their suite shooting. So that was cool to be called for that. I was like, okay, he wants his own photographer. You're calling me. Yep. Okay.
Wow.
I knew it. That to me in my head is like, okay, I'm getting that call. Like, no more complaints. Like, that's it. I'm not complaining anymore about the music industry. So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's amazing. And in the same realm of like that question, like, what does success look like to you for like being in the music industry? Because like, got it. I was like, you have been doing such amazing things. Is it like doing what you're doing? Is that like?
This is it. It's just being human, being recognized for the passion. Like, I know I put out on my socials, hey, buy my bracelet, la la la. I'm having fun with that, right?
Yeah.
When I have people, especially photographers, that look at my work and say, wow, this is pretty cool, and they appreciate it, that to me is success. Having my friends that I shot that like the work is success. It's not, I love shooting big bands, but I also love when friends reach out and say, hey, I'm playing this gig, I'd love to have you shoot it. Like, that to me is like my own friends. Like, they could ask, they have girlfriends, everyone has a cell phone, go ask them, what do you ask me for? No, I want you to do it because you're the one. It's like, wow. So yeah, and stuff like this, it's a camaraderie, and just gaining respect of the people in the industry, to me, is everything, because we know how cutthroat it is.
For
right?
sure. Yeah.
And especially women in the industry, it's not so easy, right? So this is what I love about it.
I love that. Speaking of the music industry, I got a few questions I wanted to ask you about like what the music industry is like where you're at, because I actually started photography in New York City, but I wasn't really like in the industry. So I never like got the feeling of like, who's in there, like how many people you overlap with, do you see people often in the pit?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to hear about like the music industry and the scene, that like the community that you're in, like what is it like? Is there a community? Do people like know each other? Are there like any women there? Because I
Oh,
know that like when I was shooting, I think it was all dudes in the pit.
oh, yeah, it's different. Well, in the pit, yeah, it gets a little rough because they're very seldom that I see women in the pit. But I'm
Yeah.
thinking, yeah, but I'm thinking also there's, in New York City on any given night, there's like 5 or 6 shows going on,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Yeah, so it's like for me, it would be unfair to say, hey, I shot so many gigs and I was the only chick photographer. Well, I don't know if down the block there was four chick photographers in the pit, and I just wasn't at
Yeah.
that. I just happened to be at this one, and especially my favorite bands are metal, so that's also very male driven. There's not a lot of
Same.
women that are into it, but the scene as far as the fans go, yeah, I see the same people all the time. They're all so passionate. They're all giving each other high fives. They're all in it. Like, hey, we're all going to this show. Who's going? You coming? You going? Who's going? Is D shooting it? And that's the greatest for me. It's like, hey, I'm going to the show tonight. I can't wait to see your pictures tomorrow. Like, oh, I'm not
Aw.
shooting that one. I'm shooting this one. Or yeah, I'll be there. I'm definitely shooting. Like, yeah. So there's definitely a whole scene, camaraderie scene too. Uh, but as far as the music goes, it's a rough scene. Yeah, New York is. I mean, you've been in New York, so you know about Katz Delicatessen, right? The famous Katz on Second Avenue, the one that gives you the pastrami sandwich this freaking high. There's,
No.
there's like the best. Like I know I'm kind of going off topic here,
No,
but
that's totally fine.
yeah, I could just go to, like, let's say it's a tourist trap too, but they've been around forever. But let's say a Wednesday at noon, I go to Cats and there's literally hundreds of people in there, literally hundreds of people online, 10 deep, 7 cutters, 10 deep. And I'm like, you go to an original, like a venue or a bar or whatever that plays original music, no one's there. There'll be like 9 people, 12 people, and you go to Cats for a pastrami sandwich and it's freaking packed, jam packed at noon. Like, well, where are all you people? Like, why you don't want to listen to music? It's so, unless it's a huge band, yeah, they'll show up, or a cover band.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have friends that do, tribute bands, cover bands, but it's like, that's what makes the money. And you try to
Yeah.
get a band and it's rough. Anvil, I was very happy a bunch of years ago when Anvil came by, people came, they packed it out. I was so proud because my hometown, it's like, okay, don't be an embarrassment. Come on, people, pack it out. It's Anvil. And it gets pretty, I mean, there's smaller venues, but it's nice to see people show up.
Mm-hmm. For
I go
sure.
see Accept and you can't even move. Like, I have anxiety attacks. I can't move. It's like, holy shit. Like, I can't move in here. I love it. I love that kind of scene, but I don't know. I think Europe's the place to be for music. It's just the passion is.
Yeah.
I've never seen. I literally, the first time when I toured with Anvil and we went to Germany, I forget which town in Germany. I stood there and I had tears rolling down my face watching the fans watch that band. It's like, this is what it's about. This is how it should be. And you don't see that in New York. You don't. I hate to say it because I'm from here. It's
Yeah.
half of what it is. I wish there was a bigger music scene, but now, even all the venues are going away. BB King's is gone. Like, all the venues are dying.
Oh,
Oh yeah, it's gone. It is gone.
oh
Uh,
man.
there's some still open. I don't even know. I think Gramercy's still open. I don't know if the Blender, the Highland. I don't know. I don't even know the venues that are open or closed. But it's
My
all going.
fate. Yeah, my favorite venue when I was in New York, which I also think is in Queens, was Blackthorn 51. I don't
I
know.
literally live walking distance from
Really,
Blackthorn.
I
Yeah,
love that place, mostly because it's a small club,
yeah,
smaller club-ish, or at least like club style, that
yeah.
they would get some great bands. And I photographed LA Guns there. I photographed Faster Pussycat there.
Right.
I photographed the choir boys there, and they
Oh,
were super nice and like just hung out with people, like would just come out and like hang out at the bar.
yeah,
So like having that interaction and stuff with people at like a small club was just so amazing. But going back to like what you were saying is the club wasn't packed.
right,
Like it's a small venue that's super intimate. The band is out there hanging out with you like before and after the set, and like
right.
people just didn't show up. And I was like,
But also the one gripe I have about that place, there's no freaking parking. So people know
that's
that.
true.
Like if it's in the wintertime, like there's no parking. I'm not going, yeah, I could walk there, but I'm gonna freeze. There's no parking. You're like,
Yeah,
not even for the bands. It's not even big enough for a tour bus. It's like, oh, that sucks, you know.
yeah,
And
true.
my
I
favorite
just took the train.
next door. What's that?
I just
Uber.
took the train.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you could do that too. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like, but yeah, it's pretty cool. But I don't know. Is that where Lemoore East used to be? Because Lemoore East was like, I don't know either. I can't figure that out. I should look at an address or something. But yeah, Blackthorn. The first time I went to see Lily and Axe there, I didn't shoot it. I just helped out doing merch for them. But I just don't remember really good lighting. But then I think they kind of got a better system, and then people just started really talking about that place and shooting there. But I never shot there yet, which is odd enough. It's in my backyard, and I still haven't shot there.
I am really curious about like what you're up to currently with the COVID situation. And like, so, okay, in LA, we've been hearing about how New York City was so bad for COVID. And
Yeah.
then like I think that they were just talking about it because no one wanted to discuss the LA numbers, and I'm like, LA, we're bad over here. But anyway, I am very curious about like what is the music industry like? What is it all shut down? Like how are you like keeping up to date on things? Are you doing anything? Like how are you keeping yourself like sane during this? Because I know it's really hard.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, when this COVID thing happened, I was on tour with Anvil in Europe. We were in the UK, and we actually we took a ferry. We went to Dublin. We got turned around. They're like, you better get back on that ferry and go back because we're shutting it down. We found out right there. It was a crazy
Oh my
thing.
God.
We get into Dublin. This is the craziest thing. We took a ferry. We get there. Me and the roadies, we ran and we threw out laundry in the machine. So and right next door is the venue. The promoter and his wife came on our tour bus because Lips and Robbo were going to go to university and do like a Q&A session. And I run back on the bus after I put my laundry in, the wash. And we get there, and the promoter is on his phone, and he turns ghost white. And we're like, well, what's the problem here, buddy? And he's looking, he goes, oh, yeah, the mayor's shutting down the town at 4 p.m. If you're not out of here, if you don't take the ferry and you're not out of here by 4 p.m., you're stuck here. I'm like, what? Like, yep, show's canceled. Sorry. What? Like, so this happens. I go in, I get I get a garbage bag. I told the girl, I'm like, I got to stop them, throw it back, throw it in our bunks. Lips and Robbo still went to the university because we had some time. They did their Q&A. We waited at the port for them. They got driven back. They got on the bus. We got back on the ferry, went back. After that, I was getting texts. Literally, I was getting like 20 texts an hour. The border's going to be shut down. And the only place that you're allowed to come home from is the UK. So once you leave, you're not getting home. I'm telling the guys, like, guys, I don't know if you could continue the tour, but I got to go home. So they're Canadian. You guys are going to Canada. I'm going to America, and it's different, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what we're going to do. And then slowly shows are being canceled. They're being canceled. And they're like, okay, tour's over, and it was nuts. One show on the 16th, we were heroes. I was like, wow, you're still doing this. Thank you so much. You're saving the music industry. You guys rock. All of you are great. And then the next show was like, how dare you do this? You're putting fans at risk. You're putting lives at risk. We're like, well, wait a minute. Like, hold on for a second. Right? So we got turned around. We had to come back home. March 18th, I flew back home. 2 weeks of quarantine, just isolation, quarantine. I'm not handling it too well because I lost my job. It sucks. I mean, I could get a desk job. I'm not interested anymore, but I'm just exercising and I'm taking photos of food all the time. That's all I'm doing. There's nothing I could do. I mean, Anvil, they're not touring. I don't know. It was supposed to be a November tour. I don't know what's going on with that. Everything's being canceled. Are people, even if there was touring, are people going to be comfortable going? Would you be comfortable going? I don't know. I want to go. I want to rock, but I'm terrified. I'm one of my girlfriends is always like, "Hey, you want to go here? Hey, you want to go there?" It's like, yeah, but I want to live. So like, I still can't wrap my brain around how real this thing is, how inflated the numbers are, how, I don't want to talk down about it because karma's very heavy. So,
yeah. I get that.
Yeah, just hoping. I mean, there's a lot of new music coming out. I mean, AC/DC, there's just so much good stuff gonna, it's surfacing, which is great. Anvil's writing music, it's great. So at least I know, like, my musician friends, they're working hard. They're gonna be pumping some stuff out. The touring, who knows? It's all a who knows. There's so much speculation, but I'm just keeping busy trying to stay healthy and wake up the next morning. That's all I'm trying. What else can I do?
I mean, staying healthy is so important right now, just in general. Taking care of your body, great idea. Like, fantastic. But
yeah,
it is super interesting that, like, I'm kind of the same way, and I don't talk about it too much, of like, how do we know how much of this is, like, real? Are we getting scared to stay home so the pandemic goes away faster? Which, sure, great idea. I'd happily lock myself in my room for 14 days so we can get back to, going to shows and rocking out. And it's like, I would love to go do a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm scared about all of the I'm going to be bold here and say the idiots out there not wearing their masks. Like, I'm fine with rocking out and wearing my mask. I'll do it.
Here's the problem. The government has us drinking this Kool-Aid, right? And they have us convinced that no symptoms, feeling great, we could still be carriers. That's what How are we not supposed to be flipping out? No matter, even if we're adamant, I'll put my life on it. It's BS, but, oh, you're totally fine. Yeah, you're a carrier. Okay. Okay. I'm carrying it, and I'm diabetic too. I'm type 1 diabetic, so I'm trying to be, I do wear my mask. I just, I have a 65. Sorry, Mom. I have a mother that's in her 60s. I have family that's older, and I don't want to bring this home to them. Like, I don't want to do it, but I'm not stopping my life. I mean, I'm obviously not going to concerts, even the drive-ins. I'm not going to them.
Yeah.
I do the outdoor restaurants every now and again. I go supermarket shopping. I go jump rope. I do that. But I'm not amongst a lot of people, 2 or 3 at a clip. I still haven't, I don't go to parties with a bunch of people, which I would have, but it's like, is it worth the risk?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, get me on a plane right now. I'll go to Europe in 2 seconds. I'll be there. I'd love to, but there's restrictions. I'm not allowed to go.
Yeah.
London. I think we're allowed to go to London. New York and London are open to each other, but now New York is spiking. So
yeah,
I don't know. I just can't wait till it's all over.
Same. And like, I keep thinking about it, and like, yeah, I get that the tour industry is down, and like, I've never toured, so like, I don't have like a personal stake in that, and I understand how frustrating that can be, but I keep like thinking about, there's going to be great music that comes out of this. Like, everyone that writes is sitting down now and writing. So, yeah. So many emotions, and like we're gonna get great music out of it. And I just keep thinking about like, I'm like, how do I position myself that I could like, help these bands that are writing either in like studio sessions and be like, we're quarantined or social distanced or whatever, and like doing some of that to like keep myself like, shooting and whatnot. But it's so weird, and I like every day I'm like, I just want to go to a concert again. I really do. And
I do
who
too.
knows how long it's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, there's drive-ins, but it's like, do I want to shoot a drive-in? Because part of the whole experience of, when fans are so close and the bands are feeding off the fans, it's such
Yeah,
a, I don't know. I mean, even if they're up there and they're loving the drive-in, it still feels like it's almost like a TV show. It's like, what am I watching? Like, this isn't, I don't know.
it's
It
not
just,
the same.
yeah, it's not the same. And not to say the bands aren't authentic. Of course they are. They want to rock out more than anyone. But it's like you're so far from the fans. And you're looking at grills, car grills. Like, oh, come on, like this isn't. Especially and I think about when it does come back. It's like, well, I'm going to be selling merch. Like, well, how's that going to be? Like how's that going to be? Am I going to have a spit guard? Am I going to be like under the? I don't know. I don't know
It's all a mess.
how it's going to be, but I want it to be back to how it was. I
Yeah.
just, when you tour, you get sick anyways. Like, what are the chances of 1 out of 10 people that you tour with doesn't develop a little cough? I do merch. I'm with hundreds of fans daily. Like they come near me, whether COVID's going on or not. Someone in that crowd has a cold. Someone is suffering with something. Someone's gonna break down. It's we go on tour and in the wintertime in Europe where it's so freaking cold, you're gonna break down. So it's like, I don't know. I just want to get back to the gypsy life is the life, right? I mean, you said you haven't done it, but I love it. My mom can't figure, how do you live out of a suitcase? I'm like, easy. You just pack it and you lay in a tour bus. That's all you do. It's great. You wake up in a different country. It's like, I can't afford that on my own. Like, do a tour and do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. If you ever get the chance and you're into it, definitely, definitely do it.
Yeah. I
But
just I like my space and my things too much. I like being in my own little vibe. So I don't
yeah,
know if I could ever do it.
yeah. Well, it's not that long. It's a month and a half. Depending on the band. I guess some bands go on 3, 4, 5 months at a clip.
Yeah, I just don't think that I personally can tour. I'm like, I'll leave those touring jobs for y'all. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know, but it does sound really incredible, and it's just upsetting that like I who knows when we're gonna get back to, or if we'll be back to this way that the industry was running before, because so much of what I've been hearing people talk about is like the with all of this is like recognizing how kind of like unsafe everything that we've done before is, and like
right.
being in close quarters with people, and like I shoot a lot of festivals, so I'm around like these huge crowds all the time, and I'm always like rubbing my eyes and my face and everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta stop doing that now.
Yeah, but look how long you've lived doing it.
Cool. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is and we kind of barely touched on this, is just like the music industry when it comes to like other women, female photographers, like if you've ever experienced like sexism or any sort of prejudices in the industry. I just kind of want to get your take on like the music industry, and if you've faced anything, or really haven't dealt with any sexism. I'm
In the
curious.
No. In the pit, more that I've dealt with was, I remember my very first show, I had just a little point and shoot, like a Fuji camera. It's like the same way we now would look at people with cell phones. I walked in with a little point and shoot, and I had like a big name photographer just look at me like, what are you doing here, little girl, with your little camera? That was really it. It was like sexism. That's mostly touring with bands, it's like, oh, how'd you get here? What are you doing? It's like working. Yeah, you hear that, but it mostly comes from people that haven't had the opportunities and they don't understand, like, this is all my life. I've tried all my life to do this, and I made it because I was persistent. It has nothing to do with, hi, and like low cut shirts. Hi, I'm here. Like, no, these bands, they don't just hire you because that, it's, you work hard. They see your passion. They see your dedication. They'll take you on. But photography wise, no, I don't think I've experienced it. I mean, I get the occasional, oh, so-and-so is better. But yeah, you say that because they have a name. So I get it. You know their name, you kind of don't know mine yet. So sure, I'll get that. Like, but otherwise, I haven't really felt, and again, it's it's predominantly males that I'm shooting with, and a lot of respect. The only problem, like, I've had problems in the pit with, in festivals, but that's a rough go. You literally have like 40, 50 photographers in a tiny pit. They're bumping into you. That get away from me. It's like, you get that, but there's some sort of, I think photographers, we walk in the pit and there's like, you don't even know them. It's like, just, hi, how's it going? Have a great shoot. Can't wait to see your shots. There are times we just share it, like, oh my God, I got the shot. Oh, look, I got this too from a different angle. Holy shit. Okay, keep shooting. So I think it's great. So no, thankfully, and hopefully I won't, but no, nothing like that.
That's great.
It's been really cool. I've been really lucky.
I actually really I've noticed in like the metal rock community, like there's, even in LA, I don't know if this is necessarily true in New York, but there's like a group of people that were like mostly rock photographers, and so we'll see each other often, and like there's a different sense of like how we interact with each other versus like when I'm in a pit full of like pop photographers or mainstream photographers, and there's a lot more like competition. But I feel like in the rock community, at least for me, I've seen a lot less competition. And one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast is to like kind of eliminate the competition, because I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Like, I'm like, I'm not competing against you, like whatever. But I have had shoots where I was photographing Joe Perry, and I was next to a pretty well-known photographer, Jack Liu. And both him and I were like, whoa, did you just see that? Like, look at that. And then he like nudged me like halfway, and he's like, Slash is gonna show up, so like be ready for that. And we're like, okay. So then we're like waiting and like hoping to get the shot, and like having someone next to you that you're like vibing with, having a good time, like sharing those shots and being like, oh, you got that? Oh, I missed it. Like having that interaction as like friends is amazing, and like really makes shooting so much more fun. And I want the whole community to be like that, because it's just so great. And it sounds like you get a lot of that, and that's great to hear.
And that's why I love, again with Anvil, like, because a lot of the photographers sometimes, like, again, when I was doing the TM thing, like, I would have to go find them, give them their pass, whatever. Not that with Anvil, you don't really need a pass, but still some venues, they make you, they give them a pass. And I know there's times where even if there's a pit or not, I'll find them, because I won't see them up front during certain things. And I'll just walk over and say, hey, I just want to let you know, he's in Dumothra. The vibrator's going to come out. Be up front. Shoot it. You're going to flip out. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I swear to you, in 3 minutes, go up there. After this song, go up there. Okay. And then they come back. Oh, my God, he took the vibrator out. I can't believe it. Thank you. Like, yeah, you got it. Same thing. Drum solo. Get up there. Watch that drum solo. Shoot it from this side, because from this side, you could see. Where you could see the face, like, well, I know because I've seen 400 of Anvil shows, so I know exactly where to stand, where to, where the best angle is, and then pulling people and saying, okay, come here, do it, So I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
That information, when someone tells you in your ear, hey, so-and-so, say, look over there, look right over there, look who's standing there. He's gonna come out on, I remember I didn't shoot the show, but I remember I was at New York City, Best Buy for Motorhead. And they were playing, and Doro Pesch came out, and she sang "Killed by Death," my favorite song by Motorhead. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I had my camera for this one. So yeah, there's certain things, and the photographer's like, I'm shooting, you're not. Damn. But again, that's the hard part, being independent. You don't get every show, but what are you going to do? You get as much as you can. Just go. I love it. I love it. I want more.
I want everything to be back to normal so we can have more of it.
These bands are getting older as we're sitting around waiting for them.
I know. So I got one last question for you. We'll wrap this up. And that is, what is your best piece of advice that you would pass along to anyone trying to get into music photography, trying to make a name for themselves, whatever? Best piece of advice.
Don't ever let anyone discourage you, because there's going to be tons of people out there. They're going to tell you you're not good enough. Your equipment isn't good enough. Your shots aren't as good as so-and-so. Fuck them. Can I curse? Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Screw them. Tell them to go fuck themselves. Just do it. Be confident. Even if you're not confident, keep doing it. If you can't shoot the big bands, all the local bands that are coming through, go to every single show. Shoot it. Learn your craft, because once you get that call, always be ready for that call, because it's going to come. And when it comes, you're going to be prepared. Keep doing it. And just be happy with it, and don't be discouraged. Shoot as much as you can, take as many opportunities, and don't ever pass up an opportunity, because then you're going to be like, you don't want to regret it. No regrets. Just go do it, and be happy, be confident.
Love that.
Like, you got to be happy.
Yeah. Love it. Well, thank you so much, Dalila, for joining me today. This has been so fun. But before we end off, can you give a quick shout out for where people can find you and follow your work?
rockstarpix.rocks. Well, I'm on Facebook too, but you could find all that info on rockstarpix.rocks.
Nice. Well, thank you again for joining me, and hopefully I will get to share the pit with you sometime in the future. So I will see you in the pit.